Good morning. This is for your April 14th lessons. I hope you had a good Easter weekend and a day off from school. We gave you Monday. That was a scheduled holiday on the school calendar. So you could have gotten started early or taken that day. That's totally up to you, okay? This week we're talking about poetry. We're going to be reading poems and writing poems. So go over your poetry overview right here. It talks about how poems use vivid words to appeal to your senses. It expresses feelings and ideas in a rhythmic way. All right? And remember, our poems are arranged in lines and stanzas. And a stanza is just like a paragraph in a regular story. All right? So you do not have to go do this page, Lizards Move. I did not put that in lessons for this week, all right? The next thing is to go over your anchor chart, your poetry anchor chart. So a poet can create poems using shapes to add enjoyment and meaning. So remember, a poet is like an author. A poet writes poems. So a poem about a sunset might take this shape. And we're going to be writing some shape poems later in the week. A poem about a plant might have a leafy shape, and a poem that says stop might fill this shape, like a stop sign. A poem using dialogue may be in this shape, so it's like a little speech bubble, all right? So you have your vocabulary words right here. They're also going to be listed in the margins of your story. Lava, construction, cinders, crater, and detour. Okay, so look for those definitions in the margins of your story. Volcano Wakes Up is your title of your poetry story this week, but you have different poems throughout. So Volcano is one poem. Then you have Ferns, Lava. Each one has its own little title, okay, that you'll see throughout the story. You also need to try to work through your closed read notes as you read your poems, all right? So if you want to pause, you can pause me and we'll go to our writing poetry. Before we do that, no, that's good. We're going to actually write our poems as well. So the first one is an acrostic poem. There's an example here of teacher. So the name is down the side, and then there's descriptions to describe a teacher. So they trust that I can learn, eases my fears, always understands, cares about my life, helps me make new friends, and excited over my success, and reads amazing books to me. All right, so I enlisted my daughter Carly in helping me with these poems. And she actually had written one already in a book about her spring break trip a couple years ago. So she put her name down the side like this in all caps, okay? And you can put it any color you want. And then use your pencils to write the rest of it. So she put Carly Spring Break 2017 because Carly starts with a K. They went to the Alamo. So she used her letter A and wrote Alamo. R, she wrote river. L, lots of deer, so they saw lots of deer on their trip. And then Y, yummy s'mores. So they made s'mores with their grandparents. So that is an acrostic poem. I can't wait to see, hopefully, some of your poems that you come up with. All right, the next one is you're going to be writing in your journal again. Remember, that's 10 uninterrupted minutes. I gave you a topic here to write about something fun you did during the weekend. Well, this was like a longer weekend, Easter weekend. So what did you do? I know it's probably a different kind of Easter this year, but think about while you're writing, what did you do? Who did you do it with? When did you do it? So like, was it in the morning, afternoon, and where? So did you go over to somebody's house, a grandparent's house, or did you stay at home? So uninterrupted 10 minutes, and then reread it and read it to somebody in your house, okay? All right, You can pause me and then write, or we can keep going. You have your math test, module 16 today. So a couple things, I wanted to go through some of these questions just to kind of give you some hints and suggestions. So number one, Joni used color tiles. So you don't have to use them. These little squares are your color tiles, but remember, a color tile is about 1 inch long. So think about that when you're answering your questions or you're picking your answer choice there. All right, number two, we had a question like this on one of our lessons. A large paper clip chain is 12 inches long and a small one is 5 inches long. Which shows how many paper clip chains are needed to have 29 inches of paper clip chains. All right, so I went through my answer choices, okay? So the first one large chain and 3 small chains. Well, that's basically like 12 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Okay, so each chain is 5 inches. The next one is 2 large paper clip chains. So that would be like 12 plus 5, so 1 small. And then the last one would be 1 large chain, which is 12 inches, and 2 small, which is 5 plus 5. So go through each answer choice and get your length of these chains and decide which one is 29 inches of paper clip chains. All right. Number 3, Stacy uses a ruler to measure a large paper clip. It is 2 inches long. Which sentence is true about the length of the paper clip? Well, read it carefully, okay? 2 inches is the same as 2 feet. 2 feet is greater length than 2 inches, or 2 inches is greater length than 2 feet. Okay, so read that really carefully. All right. Going to the back, think about the wording on number 4 and number 5. You're gonna use your actual ruler here on number 5, okay? And then on number 6, Bonnie chooses an object that is about 3 inches. Which one is the closest? Okay, so which one is the closest? It's not gonna be exact. Which one's the closest to 3 inches? All right, number 7, Craig needs 4 pieces of wood that are each about 1 foot long, okay? Which length of wood would be closest to the amount that he needs? Okay, so think about if you go to the store and you buy a huge long piece of wood and you're gonna cut it up into 4 pieces, all right? But look, your answer choices are in inches. So you've got to think first in feet and then turn it into inches. And how many inches are in a foot? 12. So look at my little model here. This is my full length board, okay? And then I'm gonna cut it into 4 pieces. All right, so answer that one. Number 8, Luelle makes curtains that are about the same length as the ceiling to the floor. We'll go through each of these answer choices. Which would be the most realistic option here about from the ceiling to the floor? Number 9, Ty has a toy racetrack set. Each piece of track is about 4 inches long. If Tyler puts 6 pieces of track together, how long in feet will the racetrack be? Well, that's just like number 7, okay? So I drew out kind of a little model here of my 4 inches putting together but then again, you're going from inches and now back to feet, okay? So think about that. Number 10, each section of a bulletin board is 3 feet long. Betty has some yarn, and her yarn is about as long as 4 sections of bulletin board. Well, I drew out a model here again. Here are my 4 sections of 3 feet, and I put it into one big long thing. But you gotta go back to inches, okay? So remember, 12 inches is a 12 inches is 1 foot. But look, we have one answer choice that is in feet, so maybe you don't have to go back into inches, all right? Number 11, Perry has a white shelf that is about 2 feet long. He has a black shelf that is about half as long as that. Which is the best estimate for the length of the black shelf? estimate, so it's not gonna be exact. So think about what would be half of 2 feet, and then pick the answer choice that is the closest to that, all right? Then your number 12, you have a 6-inch long paintbrush. About how long is the bottom one? Well, just think about it. It's almost half that length, okay? All right, so you can finish up on that, press pause. Then we're gonna go on to social studies, all right? So you have a social studies newspaper here in week 24, families and trade. So today, all you're doing is reading through your newspaper. Okay. On the back, on page 4, you're gonna complete this on Thursday. Okay, you're gonna reread and complete this backside on Thursday. All right, so that should do it for today. Again, I hope you had a good Easter weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.